Well, let's jump to this story from scnr.com. Shout out to our good friend, Anna Kasparian. She has called for the asylum seekers who attacked police to be deported immediately. This story is wild. I believe it was 5 criminal aliens mercilessly beat a couple police officers and were released immediately without bail. And I sit back and I put my feet up and I go, well, okay, what's the problem? You got what you voted for. Well, anyway, now Kathy Hochul is saying they should be deported. And Anna Kasparian said they should be deported immediately. I love the asylum seekers. I didn't know that we used those terms here, but I suppose if it's true, it's true. Kasparian was discussing a mob of asylum seekers. I wonder, is it on purpose, Cassandra?
Dreamers.
No,
but they all can be like, I am seeking asylum. Thank you,
But-
even if they're here illegally.
I'll tell you how I take it. It's like taking the asylum seeker, the left likes to say, and then saying was a violent mob that brutally attacked police officers. You know what I mean? Anyway, they attacked 2 New York cops in Times Square Saturday night. 7 were arrested and quickly released without bail. The progressive YouTube personality responded on her show by saying that seeking asylum here is a privilege, not a right. Let's see. We have a clip here. If it's too long, I don't want to play the full thing. If we can even get it to play. Let's do that and open it up on the old X and see if it'll play there.
These are not people you need to provide cover for. These are people who are in the country claiming asylum. They don't have a right to be here. It is a privilege to be able to take advantage of our asylum program and people.
So the left is now saying it is a right, not a privilege. Anna Kasparian is correct. And I got a couple of things to say. I'll stress, asylum is a privilege we offer you, and we don't have to. We are nice people. I ain't got no reason to let anybody in my house. If I'm a nice person, I'll try and help them out. The second thing is, congratulations, Anna. You deserve these people because you lie all the time. So have fun. I'll agree with you on the political message. I won't disagree on what you're saying, but I'm not gonna provide defense for someone like Anna who lies on her show, particularly about me. And when the left comes and is mad at her, good. These are your allies and your friends. So bend the knee or shut up because I ain't coming to your defense.
She's got a point, though. I mean, it's if you're once upon a time when people used to come to our country seeking asylum, it's because they were really running from something that was like life or death. They were seeking salvation.
What if you're Canadian or Mexican?
I'm saying if that's the situation you're in, maybe on day one, don't come in the country and start beating up police officers.
Well, if you're Canadian or Mexican.
Okay.
If you're from Honduras, you go to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to stop at the next country that can offer you asylum. Instead, they're like, we're just going to keep going till we get to America. Like, if you're in dire need, you don't just like continue on forever and ever.
If I was elected a Supreme Chancellor, the first thing I would do is I would immediately bang the gavel and say, asylum only applies to people who come from countries neighboring the United States. If you flew here, my question is, why did you choose here? Sorry, bye-bye. If you came here from Mexico and you said, here's what's happening, we'll review your case. And I got to tell you this. If everybody who came here came to the border and said, I'm seeking asylum, and they were all Mexican, I'd be willing to actually bring them in and say, okay, you can come in. We'll find you a place. We'll set up a date for your hearing because they're actually from a country where we understand there are political issues pertaining to cartels. People have been killed and the number would be substantially less. The problem now is they're coming from Africa.
Yeah. They're
flying from Africa to Brazil, taking it costs like 10 grand to do. And then they get to the American border and they go, asylum? And it's like, bro, you passed through 17 countries to get here. You're done. You were running from a burglar. Bro, he's 50 miles away.
There's people in Yuma talking about paying, they're coming across the border paying people to carry their Louis Vuitton luggage.
Yeah,
they're flying in.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange. I mean, this is the same thing. People fly into Canada and cross through the northern border. I mean, we did bring in a certain number of asylum seekers after Biden's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, right? We said these are people who we've now put in danger. They worked with our government and we brought them here. But for me, the issue with asylum, and I want to be as compassionate as possible, is that we are saying ultimately we're allowing you to stay here. We're not saying that we're going to let you stay here for a couple of years and eventually when your country stabilizes, you can go back. Ultimately, we're just saying this is a form of immigration that we allow. And I think that's part of the misleading narrative. There's sort of this pretend like ultimately you'll be reunified with your country, but actually probably not. You're just here for good. We need to be more honest about what the things that we're offering the people who come into this country are. I just think it's disloyal. It's not good to mislead the American voters.
There are not that many Mexican citizens relative to all of the other countries. And so if someone comes here and they can make a legitimate let's just say a preliminary claim, we can say, okay. Right now what's happening is the Biden administration is opening up the gates, destroying state property, and saying, everybody, just whatever, have fun. And they never show up for the asylum. They are not asylum seekers. That is just absolutely not true. And so this is still propaganda. Anna Kasparian saying, asylum seekers, it's not a right, it's a privilege, already shifting the narrative. They are criminal aliens who have lied to exploit our system and are committing crimes. It is not a right. Y'all can go get the ICE buses and send them back to their home countries. They are not seeking asylum. But the side point, of course, is Anna Kasparian has, at numerous occasions now, along with Jen Kuger, come out with positions that are anti-leftist. Probably because they saw the writing on the wall. I think the Young Turks realize that, the immigration issue. What was the other issue that came out on crime? Crime and immigration ain't winning you any friends. Yeah. And so the left is pro-crime and pro-illegal immigration. They are. I'm not trying to exaggerate. They are. They literally make shirts say "Be gay, do crime." You're not going to be able to come out and tell me they oppose it. So they're for it. You're going to lose elections. I think Jen Kuger and Anna Kasparian want to win power for their political faction, but sorry, you are now, your political faction is cohabitating with far left extremists who want to see the country burn.
Right. Has Eric Adams said anything about this yet? Like I'm curious.
I haven't checked today. I just saw Hochul's comment.
Because he's been like surprisingly vocal about the problem with the illegal immigration in New York
He's been
City.
open about it, but also I think, should do more with the county surrounding him. So for a while, he was just in the middle of the night busing people to hotels in the surrounding counties, and it was the county commissioners there saying, we don't want this. We didn't ask for this. You're the one who said that New York was a sanctuary city, and now you're making it so it's our burden as well. And this was true. I mean, Hochul has also helped disperse illegal immigrants throughout the state. And I think that is sort of this interesting dynamic they've put themselves in. You have Hochul, you have Adams, who are actually making it. I mean, I'm sure there's always a little bit of tension between, more rural New York and New York City, but there is even more tension now when they're saying, you guys led us into this position. We can't afford or want to deal with this. And yet you think you have the right to just say, well, all of your communities are inferior to ours and can serve our needs.
Remember, they were flying in illegal immigrants into Westchester. White Plains, which is just north, for those who don't know, just north of the city. What
would you do? Question for anybody. If you were the mayor of a city seeing an influx of illegal immigrants.
Build a wall. I don't know.
If you're the mayor of the city?
Yeah, you're Eric Adams right now. What do you do?
Can you deport everybody?
I mean, yeah, that's my question.
Where? So like put them on a bus and send them to Los Angeles?
Like? Yeah.
You ship them back to the Texas border?
Right.
I think one of the things is, just because I don't totally know what resources are available to mayors, is that you would hopefully need to have a governor who is like, yes, we will remove them. We will support you, because theoretically your local law enforcement, like if you're the mayor of a small town, you don't necessarily have all the resources to say, we're getting you out of here.
For those that have played Baldur's Gate 3, there's this really great scenario, which you don't need to know the game to understand, where the game has 3 acts. In Act 3, you make your way to a city called Baldur's Gate. It's a city. And it is being besieged. There's a war going on. Refugees are pouring in. And there's right when you get into the outskirts of the city, which you could describe as the suburbs, I suppose, there's a guy arguing with squatters who are refugees saying, your house is empty, it's ours. And you choose who to side with. The guy who owns the house, who is traveling and comes back to find his house occupied, or the squatters. It's up to you. There's a character in the game named Minthara. She is an authoritarian, authorite, I guess. She's a paladin who thinks like she's just like a brutal dictatorial kind of personality. There's a really funny moment where you talk to her at the gates to the city with all the refugees everywhere. And she's like, I do not understand why they're not allowing these refugees into the city. And then you can respond like, wow, I didn't think you of all people would help refugees. And she goes, help them. We can use the labor. And it makes me think like, it's something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's really funny. And I'm kind of like, I don't see anything wrong with that. What is wrong with someone coming to this country and saying, please help me, I need asylum? And our response being, I got to be honest, I don't know or care if you need asylum. You come here, we put you to work. What's the moral failing of that?
Well, I don't think there's a moral failing, but I think that already happens, and I don't think it's a great system.
No. I'm sorry. They're unleashing these people into cities and giving them cash and putting them in hotels. I'm saying like, okay, what job can you do? And we're going to make you work. I suppose the problem is it disrupts the economy for lower skilled labor in the United States who are trying to make money for themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, this is something that when, if I'm remembering this correctly, when Reagan and Carter were I can't talk right now. When Reagan and Carter were both running for president, Carter won West Virginia in part because West Virginians were concerned about the effect of immigration on the country, right? Like places with lower skilled or maybe union workers ultimately are the ones who feel the brunt of it. It's not people who have elite white collar jobs who feel the effects of immigration the same way. And I think, I mean, Larry Elder, when he was here the way, talked about the fact that inner city black men or black communities are disproportionately affected by illegal immigration because of the disruption to the economy. I think also ultimately you can also say that this is sort of one of the like I remember being in high school and having this conversation with someone. He was like, well, you're not going to pick food out of a farm. And you want to be like, so you admit that you see them as inferior workers.
You know how much
here to do backbreaking labor.
Fruit harvesting gets paid like, this was 10 years ago. I went to farms in California, 15 to $20 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No joke. And they had illegal immigrants working there. I talked to some young kids who were skateboarding, and I asked them, like, you know, what do you think about what's going on? There's these controversies, and they said their parents are undocumented. And so they were born here, but their parents, they work and they're scared about what's going to happen with Trump and all that. And I was like, how much do you guys make picking fruit here? And they're like, oh, like $15 starting. But if you've been here for a while, it's like $20 an hour. And I'm like, I know a lot of Americans who would love to make $20 an hour just picking fruit.
The other thing is that undocumented workers or undocumented minors who come across the border, if they're teenagers or whatever, are often the people who will work undetected. You'll see these cases where it's like big manufacturing plant or whatever gets busted for child labor. And then typically you can find out in the release that the children are actually undocumented in some capacity because, you know, they're not necessarily expected to be in school or whatever else because they're not registered in the same way that American citizens are, meaning that they're not protected from some of the abuses we wouldn't subject our own children to.
I got it. If I was the mayor of New York, you know, I'd be doing, or Chicago, I'd build a pyramid.
Like the Bass Pro Shop pyramid?
Just a bunch of rocks. You know what? Because I'm thinking, like, my question about the moral failings of saying you can come here but you have to work is not about the economics, which we understand. We understand that disrupting the economy is bad. The question is it morally wrong to make an asylum seeker do work?
No.
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, if you come to my house and say, can I crash on your couch? I'll be like, do the dishes and vacuum the floors and you contribute and you can stay here. Like, I'll pay the rent, cover the utilities. We trade, right? But what do you do? What could Eric Adams do? You can't deport. Deporting internally in the United States just means putting him on a bus and sending him somewhere else. That's basically what was happening with DeSantis and Texas.
That's what Giuliani did to the homeless.
That's right.
I got
deport
them
them
in my neck of the woods. Yeah.
But what if? And you don't want to put them to work because then they're going to disrupt low skill labor for the people who live in the city. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.